Welcome to Championship Predictions, and he's actually here, ladies and gentlemen. I struggled my way through looking at Sam Parkin's notes last week, but he's back in the building, and Sam is consistent now. He'll be here every week. Sam, you're like a year one parachute team. You just haven't got going yet, mate. 10-5 to me in the first week, 11-4 in the second week. I know you're capable of winning like 8 weeks in a row. That's a poor start from you, mate. 21-9 to me in the aggregate, 2-0 up. But you're going to do that footballer thing where you get all competitive now and start winning, aren't you?
So what's that? That's four bob-ons, is it? Well, 4 results, correct?
Four results.
It's not the worst, is it? You know, I've still called 4 outcomes, and it is a bit of a lottery this stage of the season. There has been some random stuff going on.
You were really unlucky in the first week. You got completely screwed by the order. Do you remember? You had 2 bob-ons, and I got them because I was going first.
So I've had nine results of being correct over the 2 weeks, which is not bad going, despite not getting any scorelines right. So, yeah, room for improvement, mate. But to be honest, I'm sending you results.
You're Leicester, aren't you?
I'm sending you results last week with a glass of rosé in my hand and a salad niçoise in the other. So,
what an image. How much more middle class could this podcast get, ladies and gentlemen? Right, you know the deal. You know the scores to play along. Sam, you are up first as ever. Friday night football, I'll be doing this as the watch along. Sam was there last week at Pride Park. We just done a clip on that one. It's Derby versus Bristol City.
Sure. Who knows? So Bristol City, thumping win, Sheffield United, and then stalemate, wasn't it, last time out? I think low scoring again. I went 1-0 Derby last week, didn't I? Do you know what? I'll go for John Eustace to get a master plan together this week, and I'll extend that. I'll go for Derby to win 2-0 at home against Bristol City, which I'm not even sure I believe saying it, but that's what I'm going for.
Oh, it's so difficult, isn't it? Because you've got a new manager, like you're saying, at Bristol City, who's literally won 4-1 and then drawn 0-0. So if you're looking for a pattern, you ain't going to find one there. I might just sit on the fence with this one for that reason, Sam, and call the draw. But I'll go for a Desmond. I'll go for the TV to get a bit of entertainment, and I will go Derby 2, Bristol City 2. Charlton versus Leicester. I've already raised the theme of the parachute teams starting slowly. Nathan Jones is going to love this. He's going to fancy this, isn't he? And Leicester obviously went to Preston and went under last week. Charlton will make it horrible. I reckon Charlton could win this, couldn't they? You could have a horrible start for Party Marty Cifuentes. Let's do it. Charlton 1, Leicester 0. More disruption for Leicester. I think they'll probably sell El Canus, or that'll be being done this week as well. Am I mad to back Charlton, Sam?
Not at all. I'd probably hedge my bets by going for that as well. However, Leicester need a reaction because, obviously that was a really poor performance at Preston. A lot of disgruntled supporters. We know they've been disgruntled at, more than just the 11 that have been out on the pitch in recent times, and that's not going to go away if they don't get something at the Valley. So I'll go for them to get a point, maybe an unjust point, but I'm going to go for a 1. I'm going to go for a 1-1 and a little bit of salvation for the Foxes.
Hull versus Blackburn.
Yeah, well, Blackburn involved in 2 very tight games. Hull have had a relatively good start. Great for McBurney after. It feels like a couple of indifferent seasons, doesn't it? Because his stock was quite high a few years ago. The type of game I could envisage Blackburn winning, spoiling. Oh, I've got a 1-1 there. Let's go for Blackburn. 2-1 away win. You don't know what you're going to get with Blackburn, do you? I don't think they're going to be wretched. So let's give them a victory here on the road.
Well, I totally agree. You don't know what you're going to get with Blackburn because my understanding is West Brom played them off the pitch in the first half of the first game, but then they were the better side in the second half. And then, they've been in the game against Birmingham, led, and then managed to lose it at the end. So it's mixed signals. I think Hull perhaps are one of the teams that a lot of people could revise their early. I think they've been a bit better than we expected. They might be. So I might flip your scoreline then, Sam, and back Hull, being they're at home. So I will go 2-1 to the Tigers, which would that be 3-3 defeats for Blackburn? So sorry, Blackburn fans. I don't want that to be the case, but it's the predictions and all. Swansea versus Watford, I am up first. I wonder whether Watford are going to score lots of points at home and not very many away this season. And I think Swansea might go back-to-back home wins here. They beat Sheffield United last time out. I'm going to back the Swans. I'd be interested if you get a look at this Kieran guard up front. He might score quite a few goals this season, I think. I'll wait for you to see him in the flesh. I'll back Swans and I'll go 2-0. 2-0 Swans, Sam.
Yeah, well, I'm led to believe that it was actually his strike partner, or certainly one of the other forward players, Aran Kunda, who was very, very impressive.
The nippy lad from Bayern, yeah?
From Bayern, yeah. I was working with Kevin Hatchard, the European football expert last night, who said he's never really got an opportunity at Bayern, but very exciting player. And one of my spies at Vicarage Road at the weekend said he was sensational over the goal scorer. So, yeah, Watford looking pretty good when you consider.
So I should have given him a goal, is what you're saying?
Yeah, looking pretty good from what was anticipated. But Swansea, I mean, Sheffield United don't think had a shot on
no shots
Swansea's goal. Can they go back to back? I'll say no. I'll go for a 2-2.
It's Birmingham versus Oxford. Gary Rowett returns to St Andrews.
Oh yes, yeah, that'll be extra motivation for him. Yeah, I have to say I've kind of bumped Birmingham up in my mind from where they were pre-season. I think I've kind of got them as a playoff team now, which I didn't have a few weeks ago. Not to say it's been completely seamless, but there just seems to be, a real kind of energy about them. Maybe hard work this, but I'll go for them to get over the line by a solitary goal, 1-0.
That is today's first scribble, Sam. I'm thinking exactly the same thing. I think Birmingham win the game, and I agree with you. It might be they might win it from the bench or something of that nature. And I also agree. There's just a winning feeling and a momentum around the whole organisation. Not even just the players, the managers, the bench, just everyone there together. I will, in that case. I'll tell you what then, it'll be hard work and then they'll score a second goal right at the end to make it a 2-0 win. But let it be known for the record, I would have taken 1-0 if that indeed comes in. Coventry versus QPR. Sam, you sounded quite high on Coventry after the win at Derby. So for that reason, I'm probably going to back them here to beat your boys. And should we go goalie again? If they scored 5 in the last one, maybe they'll be all free and loose and full of life. I'm going to play for a bonus point here with no element of logic to this whatsoever, Sam. Coventry 3, QPR 2.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was hugely optimistic. Quite liked the appointment. Not to pretend I'm a French football expert, but I quite like the idea after Martí Cifuentes doing so well, getting someone from a different league that had obviously been earmarked to come into the Championship. Good signings. Poku not at Watford, unavailable, injured. Kone only on the bench. Very, very bad for 45 minutes. I don't think you can back QPR, given what they produced there. I'll go 3-1. I think that's as good as a home banker, given what we've seen across the opening couple of weeks. And it'll be bouncing in there, having not been able to get the win against Hull on opening day.
Norwich versus Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough are one of our 3 sides who are 2 for 2, but Norwich got the first win down at Pompey.
Yeah, contrasting performances maybe from Norwich, certainly contrasting results. Middlesbrough, good value for the win, but I think it flattered them a little bit 3-0 having
You
watched.
saved me a public apology on that, calling that one a draw, mate. So thank you for that.
Yeah, having watched some extended highlights, I think probably 3-0 was a little bit flattering, but brilliant. Rob Edwards, two victories, two clean sheets, number of players looking to be added to the squad, it sounds like, as well. So they're in a pretty good place. I don't see them going 3 for 3, though. Feels like another goalie one, doesn't it? I'll go for Norwich just to nick that, and Middlesbrough suffer their first defeat, 2-1.
Well, you say about it being high scoring, but remember it's now Manning and excuse me, Edwards as opposed to Johannes Hoff-Torp and Michael Carrick. I think we have had like 2-2s and 3-3s and whatnot in previous seasons. So I will temper that. I think I'm going to go for the draw, Sam. I think there's a bit of a sense with both that they'll both be in a far better place in, say, October, won't they? And I think the Hackney thing's going to rumble again this week. And I know he played and he scored, but that needs sorting out. I think Norwich will have a nice steady line of improvement now, probably right up until the point they play Ipswich, where they'll peak and beat Ipswich once again in October. But I'm going to take a sit on the fence 1-1. And speaking of Ipswich, they head off to Preston. And Sam, I've had Ipswich 1-1 on both games and been bob on both times. So I'm very tempted to do another 1-1. Ipswich just in that league, year one parachute August churn where they've got Akpom but he's not fit. They've got Kayuste but he's on the bench. Hutchinson's now gone. Broadhead's now gone. There was a youth striker, behind Hurst. And it's not quite there and it will be there. And Preston beat Leicester last time, so I could see it being a draw. And Ipswich absolutely suck at Deepdale. Not a good hunting ground there. I'm going to do it again. I've been correct twice. Preston 1, Ipswich 1.
Yeah, difficult to judge, really, Ipswich. I think as well, Ben, and I don't know if I articulated it well, but I was speaking on TalkSport 2's EFL show last night, and I thought just that uncertainty as to probably who's going to be there, readjusting to the level, new midfield, various other bits and bobs, but also all of a sudden Ipswich are the ones to be shot at, and that's not been the case. Correct me if I'm wrong, but probably since the League One promotion season, because we didn't expect Ipswich to be promoted from the Championship. That's for sure. We expected them to go well when they came up under Kieran McKenna, but that took everyone by surprise. They were still a little bit of an unknown that year, and probably the underdog even when they were up there jostling for promotion. And then obviously in the Premier League, nobody fancied them most weeks. So all of a sudden, teams are going to raise their games. So that's another ingredient to put in. So I think it's a work in progress, and it'll get steadily better, and they'll be up there. Preston, written off before a ball was kicked. So huge credit for the way they started. Huge credit. I don't think Ipswich will defend as badly as Leicester did at Deepdale. And I think it could be tight, could be ugly. And I'll go for Ipswich to get their season up and running with a 1-0 away win.
Sheffield United versus Millwall.
God, that's hard, isn't it? That is tough. People talking already about sellers. Bigger problems, obviously, at Sheffield United. Needs a bit of help. Definitely needs 2 or 3 players in to bolster areas that are incredibly weak currently. I remember covering this game back in the last season, and Millwall won well. I think it was 1-0, but could have been 2 or 3.
Was that in the mad week?
It was when
Sheffield United threw it all away. Yeah.
When they fell off. Yeah, I can't recall if I was up there or if I did it remotely, but Millwall good value. It's a draw, or Millwall are going to win this, I think. Let's go 1-0 away win.
Wow. Millwall let me down at the weekend.
Have United got a point yet? No.
No, they lost to Bristol City and they lost to Swansea. as well. It's been a really, really poor start. I might flip your scoreline and go for this to be the turnaround game, and Sellers gets a 1-0 win. Although,
I suppose
even as I say that,
I was just going to say, I suppose what changed it, maybe if they could do business this week, if they could get a couple in this week, just to give everyone a bit of a lift. Not to say that, new recruits could come immediately in and have an impact, but I just think to raise the spirits and just alleviate the noise and make Bramall Lane together for the weekend against, what we know will be an incredibly challenging game against a well-structured Millwall team. I think that could flip it in your favour. But as it sits at the moment, there's so much discourse. I'd go for 1-0 Millwall.
Okay, I am going to flip it then. Maybe like Harmer will win it on his own or something. It'll be a tight game, but I think we all agree that Millwall are certainly ahead of where Sheffield United are at the moment. Speaking of ahead, Southampton versus Stoke. Stoke are ahead of everybody, and we're having our normal third week of August excitement about Stoke. Quite like what I've seen. I've seen both Southampton's games so far. I thought they were a bit lucky against... Well, actually, it was more that Wrexham were unlucky, I think. And then against Ipswich, that was very much two teams that aren't the finished article, get into 60, 70 minutes, and it's like, right, okay, this is a draw. Let's all go home. So I don't think Stoke will lose, actually. Do you know what? Should we just have some fun with this? Let's just predict Stoke to go 3 for 3, just because it's fun and it's nice to get carried away at the start of the season, isn't it? So this is for pure narrative vibes reasons. I am going to go Southampton 1, Stoke 2. You didn't see that coming, did you, Sam?
Sorry, what did you have there?
Southampton 1, Stoke 2.
Not necessarily, but I'm completely on board with Stoke not losing. Yeah, and call me a fool, but because this is repetition from the last couple of Augusts. I got an outstanding goalkeeper, and he'll have to be on it at Southampton, because you'd imagine that at St Mary's they'll make chances. And the front three looks incredibly vibrant. Loads of pace.
The three on the bench behind him look all right as well, don't they?
Yeah, loads of good loan signings, loads of pace. Obama looks like a really good acquisition up top. I'll go for a draw. I'll go for another 2-2 here. I think Southampton are a work in progress, and I think they'll be tested by a vibrant Stoke, but I think they're good enough, Southampton, and personnel-wise, a good outfit. So I think they'll be good for a point, but like Ipswich, it's going to take a bit of time.
West Brom, Pompey. West Brom 2 for 2.
Yep, and tough game at Wrexham. That's the reality of the Championship, isn't it? You step up. Wrexham, despite all the signings and the razzmatazz and the confidence.
Razzmatazz, that's tremendous.
The motivation, everything that's going on there. The reality is you're playing against better players now. And if you give up opportunities, you'll get punished, and they'll have to take a few defeats this year, Wrexham. But credit West Brom. Feels low scoring, doesn't it? What, Isaac Price, who's the man at the moment, isn't it, for West Brom? I think it's 1-0 West Brom this, or it's a 1-1. So I'm going to play another 1-1, just, to my mate on the South Coast after the disappointment of the home defeat to Norwich. I think they'll be a strong side, Portsmouth, this season. 1-1.
Well, I mean, you've left it open for me for the home win. You're right. Price is the hot hand, isn't he? I liked what I saw, Sam. It's very, very different, but there were times where they just played through Wrexham, quite aggressive, vertical, exciting. We've seen Corberon sit, long throw, set play, win 1-0, etc. But I'm quite excited about Ryan Mason. And
new centre forward, but other than that, I look at it and I think that's probably a mid-table Championship side.
But to be fair, Phillips and Campbell, that could be a nice centre-back partnership.
Yes, I forgot about Campbell. But I just looked, I haven't gone through it with a fine-tooth comb, but Is that the phrase? I always say that, don't I? Yeah, I look at the 11 and I think I'm not sure that's going to be in the higher echelons of the division in terms of the personnel they've got. But obviously we're still talking with time left to recruit. But says to me that, immediately the messages from Ryan Mason have got through with, 2 really good performances and victories.
Yeah, seem to have had a good pre-season. I'm going to give them the win here. Let's give Pompey always good for a goal, aren't they? And the lad Segacic looks good, doesn't he, for Pompey? West Brom 2, Portsmouth 1. It's Wrexham versus Sheffield Wednesday. I'm going to predictably predict Sheffield Wednesday to lose again, as I have done. Although, I have to say, the 5-0 I predicted on the first week for Leicester, Sheffield Wednesday were way better than that, and they've been in games. Do you know what? I reckon this might be a painful one for them. I reckon they might lose by 1 goal, and they might lose late. Do you know what I mean? Wrexham will bring someone off the bench and they'll bundle home the winner or something like that. Is it another 2-1 home win? I've already had 2 of them. I'm doing it, Sam. Wrexham 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1, and I can have more practice at seeing Nathan Broadhead in a Wrexham shirt. The pain of it all, Sam.
Yeah, it's a struggle this week. Well, it's a struggle last week. I find it very difficult to call. I mean, Sheffield Wednesday are going to get some points. They're going to upset the narrative sooner rather than later.
Where are you going with this?
No, well, it's not going to be this week, I'm afraid. But they will. I think I had them for a 1-1 with Stoke last week, and it will happen.
Fair play, you did, yeah.
They'll start picking up some points soon. But I just think it'll be too difficult. Although it's 3-sided at the moment, isn't it? The racecourse. I think the end
hard
to
cam
our
to your right, yeah.
As we look, so away from the tunnel is standless. So maybe not the atmosphere that it was last season, but I still think they'll be too good for Sheffield Wednesday. I'll go for the solitary victory 1-0.
There we go. Those are your round 3 championship predictions. Sam, great to have you back face to face doing this. Get involved in the comments, guys. There's a point for a outcome, home, away, or a draw. 3 for a correct result. Only 1 bonus point played today. You get a bonus point if you get your result right. 5 or more goals you need. Get down there. Sam's off to Grimsby or Walsall or somewhere. Walsall. And we will see you next week for more predictions and a full Championship Checking podcast.